Well, hello, 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 and happy holidays, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay and see my screen. If you can, let me know in the chat. Looks like there's a couple of people there already. Um, while we're waiting for that, I'll just give the normal um, kind of starting things. Like, subscribe, and you can ask questions during the stream. And if you have questions afterwards, leave them in the comments. And also, you can always leave a comment, but please remember to do those things because it's kind of important, I guess, for us. So, yeah, and with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with this. Looks like the background here is a little bit too dark. Let me make that lighter. Again, if somebody could please let me know if you can see my screen okay, and if you can hear me okay, that would be awesome. All right, let's see, nothing in the chat. Now, I kind of apologize for a little bit of a mix-up here. I left this day open on the calendar because I thought I was going to be traveling during the holidays, during this time, but I ended up not. So that is why I have I'm doing the stream, and but it's not on the calendar, so I apologize if that's going to mess anybody up. But everything should be normal going forward in the next year. Okay, so looks like YouTube is good. Mike, thank you very much for that. And if we can get somebody on Twitch to chime in, that would be perfect, and then we can go ahead and get started. So I did do some work. I had some time over the break, so I was able to do a little bit more work over here. One thing I wanted to do is kind of work on these teeth here, and so I put in some teeth and did a little bit more work on the skull. I'm kind of getting away from the idea of this having being a human skull. Maybe just parts of it are human, but some of it is mechanical as well. So I'm kind of fleshing that out, and you can see that inside here. And I'm going to solo that out so you can see it. And I just basically cut the back off. I don't need it. And I might even not use this part on the back here because it's just taking up space. But the front part is kind of just whatever's showing is what I have. It looks pretty bad like this. Some weird hangovers here. Let's see what that's all about. It's not symmetrical. At least it's not in certain areas it is, in certain areas it's not. So there's that. And yeah, and I changed the colors a bit just to kind of get closer to my final look. And we'll just be continuing it from this point forward. Okay. There she goes, 156. Thanks again. I'm just waiting for somebody from Twitch to chime in, and then we can go ahead and get going. And I don't know if this is going to be a full stream. It depends on if I get called away, but if I don't, I'll just stay on until the normal time. All right. So yeah, I think I'm going to do maybe a little bit of work on the head today. I did some things around the neck here. I'll point these out, and I'm probably going to do more of them later on. But basically, I put these tubes in, which basically are just normal tubes. If I bring up you can see here, it's just a normal kind of tube that I put in, just a normal cylinder, and then I basically inset the inside parts and created some depth, so it creates this kind of nice little cabling in here. And I probably will put something in there, although I don't know if it's visible. And then the other thing that I did is I made this kind of neck garter, I guess you call it. And this is just generated by using the dynamic subdivision and the micropoly. So it's basically just a very simple polygonal mesh. I made two groups here because I think I might do, and I'll do that right now when I'm thinking about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to separate this out. So I'm just going to split the hidden parts. And I'm going to turn this on. And then if I turn everything back on, I don't even know if the other parts are going to show. But basically, if I were to kind of go ahead with my plan, let's go ahead and switch over to another view here, maybe 3. And with that view, I'm just going to show just this one and this one. So these are the 2 parts, right? And then with this one, I'm just going to go ahead and add some depth. So again, dynamic subdivision, add some thickness to it, maybe something like that. And let's give it 1 smooth subdivision level. Now, actually, no, we won't do that. And so this is kind of what it looks like now with this top part. Where are you, top part? I don't have it on solo, do I? Nope. Okay. Right, so there's this. Oh, this is way out over there. Okay, so here we go. This is kind of what is happening here. So I just wanted to create these border things. And what this border thing, so notice this is kind of an important thing, is that if I, it keeps jumping to that guy. All right, if I go to this and if I do smoothing on it, right, it's going to make it not as deep, and that might actually not work. See, you're seeing the gaps over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to it and add a flat subdivision as well. So I'm just going to add 1 flat subdivision, and I'm not going to smooth it yet either. I'm just going to add 1 flat subdivision and accept this, apply. So now I've got the thickness, and I also have the subdivision level. And then I can just give it a little bit of a polish. Maybe that'll kind of get some of these jagged edges out. So I'm going to turn this off, and you can kind of see the jaggies. And again, none of this is important because it's not going to be visible, but I'm just going to do it anyway. And then I'm also going to do something else that I see here. So here I'm just going to say polish crisp edges, and I'm just going to go like maybe with like a 1. There we go, that fixed it. So now it kind of looks smoother and actually looks even better. Right, so that's good. And then with this one, in the middle, and again, I don't know why this top part is kind of honing in on the action here. And this, for this middle part, and maybe I should choose a, well, I mean, that's its color. You can see here that these over here are bigger than these up there. And the reason for that, just go to that part, is because with dynamic subdivision, right, if I turn this off, you can see that these are the polygon sizes are different, right? And I want a uniform polygon size. So the secret to that is I'm just going to zero mesh it again, keep the same number. Okay, so this is still kind of giving me that. So I'm going to try doing it without, by turning adaptive on. So adaptive is on, zero mesh again. And so now it looks a little bit better, but it's still giving me like thinner polygons up here and fatter ones down here. So I don't know what a good way to fix that is, but I'll figure it out. Okay, so let's say I go to half the amount of polygons, and I don't have groups anymore, so I don't care about that. And let's try adaptive size is at 10. So let me pump that up to maybe 60. Let's see if that gives us what we want. Zero mesh it. A little bit better. So here I'm just going to go ahead and double it and zero mesh it. No, it still wants to be thinner up here and fatter down here. And I think that's because of the number of polygons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the adaptive size down to 0. Okay, that's worse. And then let's go all the way up. Zero mesh it again. I think that's a little bit better, but I don't really need that many polygons, so I'm going to zero mesh it at half. It looks like I'm kind of stuck with that. And let's see what that looks like with dynamic or with the let me bring this down to 8. On. All right, so an interesting thing happened here where all this is kind of all jumbled up like this. And if that happens, and I don't know, do I have thickness on here? Dynamic, smooth, thick? No, I don't. Okay, so the way to fix that is you just click on Align, and that fixes it. Now, they're going this way, which is more looking like a brick wall. I don't want it to be that way, so I'm just going to rotate it around. Well, that's kind of interesting. Huh. I wonder if I should leave it like that. Talk about a happy accident. right? Let's see what that looks like with the whole thing. Right, I'm probably going to need to change the color again, but that's okay. So I'm just going to go to V1 here. Actually, that looks a lot better than what I had. So I think I'm just going to keep that. Kind of rotated, you know, on its side. Wow, that actually looks really cool. It actually creates more visual interest in this inside part than what I had before. All right, so that's good. The only thing I need to do is just give it some color, and I'll just pick this gray color here and fill object. That's done. Right, so yeah, that is looking primo good. Right, but the only problem is, what's this on the inside? Is that the neck? Nope. Let's see what it is. There's some weird intersection happening here too that I gotta fix, but that's not a big deal. What's this? Oh, that's just this body. I can always fill that with black as well, or gray. All right, so that's kind of, that did that. And for this part over here, all I need to do is just maybe take this tube and move it out a little bit. Oh. You can see these are kind of just really simple tubes I created with the Z-Mesher. All right, I still have not heard from anybody from Twitch. I'm hoping you guys can see me and hear me okay. MK2 says he's been enjoying using ZBrush for hard surface assets. Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? So I'm glad to say that more and more people are joining the ZBrush for hard surface team. Yeah, because every time, you know, somebody says, well, I didn't know ZBrush was used for hard surface. I thought it was just for like doing figurative sculpting. Nope. I hate to mock people that way, but they're probably not on, so I get to do it. All right, so delete. No, let's see. All right, this is working out okay. And yeah, so yeah, I really like how this turned out. You know, just a completely amazing happy accident right there. Okay, I might need to embellish it with something. Maybe I'll do that right now. So I'm just going to go back to V3 here, which basically just is showing these two things. I'm going to select this item that I had, and I'm just going to duplicate it, but not have it have that dynamic subdivision. And so it's inside. So that's one kind of thing to do just to make it safer. And also that one I'm going to color kind of a black color, right? So this looks so very Darth Vader-y. All right, there's that. Yeah, and the other thing I want to do is maybe put a couple of rings in there. So I'm just going to go back to that one piece that I just added, duplicate it one more time. And then with this duplicate, let me just go to it. All right, I duplicated the wrong thing, but that's okay. And this one, no dynamic subdivision. And I want to bring this stuff out. And I'm going to go to the Z-Modeler brush and Q-Mesh some of these poly loops out. So let me just bring this up. I'm going to go to transparent and ghost mode so I can work from inside here. And I'm just going to extrude that out just a tiny bit like that. And maybe do one more here just to kind of add a little bit of breakage in the pattern. One more here maybe. It wants to add an edge, which is not what I want. Let's get up close here. Here we go. All right, so let's see what that did for us. it did do it. It's inside. Maybe I need to go out a little bit further. Yeah, I just want it to kind of go just like that. There we go. And this one. And this one looks like it's okay. Let's do it anyway. All right, so that just kind of creates some horizontal stuff as well. Just kind of like, almost like some sort of a chainmail type of thing. All right, and I'm gonna solo that out again. So I don't really need all this other stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete it. So I'm gonna do the same thing, delete polyloop. Gone, 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 and gone. And then just delete island for the rest of the cleanup here. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I just have these inside pieces, and are they? Yeah, they're hollow. That's fine. Okay. All right, so that's kind of creating a little bit more interest in here. And again, I'm just going off of my reference photo, which is this guy right here, right? So I'm kind of, this is an AI generated image, so I'm trying to make something similar to this, inspired by it, but not exactly it, something a little bit different. Okay. All right, another thing I wanted to do is here, I created this little tube over here. And what I want to do is I want to create some sort of a housing that it goes into. So I'm just going to duplicate it and solo it out. And I think this has subdivision levels. It does. I'm going to take off those subdivision levels. And what I want to do is just create something that this piece is going into in the back. And I'm just going to have to figure out a way to do this. Something like maybe that. Right, so I'm going to do something here, which is basically take all the color off of this and maybe switch something lighter so I can see the geometry better. Here we go. Good old gray. And I'm going to, before I do that, I'm going to just turn this thing around on its back, make it a little bit bigger. And push it in this way. I think that's a little way too big. Something like this. Maybe something like that. Okay, so now I need to just kind of fix a few things here. One of them is I'm just going to Q-mesh this part out. It's going to be tricky, but that's not really what I intended. Let's see what the, okay, so it's got some edge loops supporting it here, which I will get rid of. Sometimes my polymodeling skills take over and put in supporting edges. Okay, and then just lift this up. There we go, that's what I wanted. And trying to find a way where I can kind of see what was there before, but also have this kind of socket that it goes into. All right, I'm going to solo this out again. There's a lot of geometry I don't need, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Delete. Let's say delete polyloop and delete island. And then let's go back to Q-mesh. All right. So here, I don't know if this is kind of working the way it is. I kind of want there to be a negative of what this is doing in that area. So I wonder if I should Boolean it. let's give that a try. Why not? All right, so I'm just going to create a folder here. Actually, let's duplicate this once. Create a folder called bool1. That was a weird sound. Okay. Let's see. Delete an edge or two. Oh, okay. Luck Lori. That's a good thing to know. Well, let's see if that works. Actually, I'm kind of curious to know if it does work. All right, so I'm going to check it out. A little bit of a diversion here. All right, let's go ahead and pick, where was it? It was this guy right here. Solo it out. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate it. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and not do dynamic. So this is what we had. All right, and this is the setup we had. So you said delete an edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this edge right here and then zero mesh it again. Let's keep the same number. Kind of has the same problem. So maybe I think, maybe delete some of these edges where the problem is kind of more. And so they're all kind of more not square size, but kind of long. Let's see if this solves the problem. I think what's happening is because it's kind of narrowing down over here, so your mesher's kind of doing that. There's a couple other things I could do. I mean, if this is kind of an interesting thing that got brought up, so why not give it a try here. Let's go ahead and go to zero mesher here, and let's try a couple of things. So changing the adaptive size is one of the things that we can do, and I'm going to just change this back to 60, which is the default. And I'm going to maybe say, let's detect edges. Let's see if this does it. A little bit better, but yeah, I think just because this is kind of funneling in, it's kind of, as it gets to the top, it's doing that. Now you can manually fix this as well, and here's kind of how I would manually fix it. I just go to slide, right? So, and it's not that many edges here, so we'll do edge loop complete. And if you click on this, you can slide these edges. So I can just do that, and then I can just insert another one here. Oops, this way. Right, so then I'm just basically adding edges myself, and I think this is enough, and then I'll just go back to slide here and just arrange these. I mean, it'll take a very short period of time. Something like this is easy to do. So here, if I just want to completely get even sized squares, I can just bring this down. Now that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, and this is going to be interesting to see if this works, right? I'm going to go to delete, or just go to insert, because you can insert does both, and I can just delete all these, right? So now I have no edges at all. But I'm losing the form, right? I'm losing that kind of form, but that's not a big deal. And then I'm going to go to insert and say multiple edge loops, and I can choose number of edge loops. So let's go ahead and let's say 8 is fine. And then what I want is I want interactive elevation, okay? And then as I click here, I can kind of do this. And 8 is maybe not enough. I don't know if you guys, I'm dating myself here by mentioning this, but there was a show called 8 is Enough, so I guess 8 is not enough, so I'm going to go to 10. And I'm going to do this, right? So now with 10, I can kind of do this, and I know that the distances between these are going to be the same. So that's another way of doing it. And I don't know what happened here, but I guess while I was doing all these zero meshings, it kind of did this in the back, which I don't know why it did that. But anyway, kind of a little bit of a digression here, but a lot of people watch these things for tutorial reasons, so it's always good to kind of go off the beaten track every once in a while. Okay, so I don't need that anymore. Delete that. Go back to here. And let's go to V1. View everything. Solo. Back to this guy. Back to this problem. All right, so where we got distracted was we were trying to do Boolean. So I'm going to do one of these two. Duplicate and bring it in. And what I want to do is I want to do a subtraction. So This one's an addition, this one's a subtraction, and I'm going to go into view 4 here and just show these two things. So I can see it, and then I'm going to turn on, where are you? Live Boolean. Okay, so this is kind of the shape that I'm going to be getting out of this. And I'll turn double on here, so where is double? So I can see the inside. Okay, I don't know why I'm not seeing the inside, but you know, that's okay. All right, so that's going to give me this kind of indentation, it looks like, but somehow this is not, yeah, let me see here. What if I turn double off? Okay, I think it doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm just going to Boolean this folder, see what result I get just for kicks. Boolean folder. And what I get is this piece right here, which is what I want. So great. This is kind of exactly what I want. Now I don't want these edges to be this sharp. And also, I don't, you know, I'm not too happy with all these little things that the Boolean added. So I'm going to go ahead and try and fix some of this. Should be easy enough to do. Make sure symmetry is on. And I don't really need all these polygroups. I'm just going to group them as one. And then let's see what zero mesher does here. So I'm going to use the same number and just zero mesh it. And it pretty much did exactly what I wanted right there. So now I've got this nice smooth edge over here that I can maybe even touch up a little bit. And let's see what this looks like subdivided, two smooths. And let's bring everything back and see what we get. All right, so I don't know why I got all the visibility of everything off. And now I've got everything on, so I got to go turn off some stuff. Oh no, actually I'm good. Maybe just some of these skulls that I had before. Right. Oh, and the visor came back, but we can get rid of that. Right, and the Boolean folder is back too. All right, these eyes I'm probably never going to use. I'm just going to move these all the way to the bottom here. And where's the Boolean folder? There it is. Okay, so Boolean stuff is not showing up. Here's this piece. I'm going to hide the visor too so I can see the guy's face. All right. And where's this Boolean piece? There it is. Oh, I've got the original. I'll leave the original, this one, but there's this one. And then let's go to unmask center here. And this thing is kind of needing to move out. Oops, not that way, but move out and up a bit. Something like this. Maybe not that much. That's good. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is how it's intersecting with this piece. So let's see if changing the size will help. Something like that. Actually, that works. All right. Now I can also do some manual work here and see if this will work better too. So here I'm kind of combining a little bit of organic stuff with the mechanical looking thing that I had. All right. Here we go. That creates a little bit more of a natural kind of edge to it. And then I know that the light is going to kind of shine in there, so I'm just going to lift this up and back. All right, M polish brush, MP M polish brush. I don't know what that means. Looks dense. Well, I mean, yeah, it is, but it is it is going to be kind of eventually subdivided, but there's a lot of pieces to it, and it can all be simplified. If this needs to be a game asset, it could very easily be simplified down. But like I've said in earlier streams, even though that's something I can do, I would prefer not to. I prefer coming out with the models and then having folks whose kind of core strength is to optimize models do that part. But knowing that they are going to do it really helps, because then I can, I can kind of gear things towards that. All right, so here we go back, bring back the coloring here. And that's weird. Siri just turned on for some reason. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay. Now the other thing I want to fix are these, and I'm going to go back to my kind of gray model. And by the way, I also did something last time. So my this menu was getting really out of control with with brushes, and I do have a brush menu that's got like a lot of the brushes that I use. Okay, so that's that. But then the anchor brush came in or whatever, so I created a new kind of quick brush list here that I'll be using. You'll see me bring this up. So this is just my quick brush, and this is something I'm going to be using until I get a radial menu. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. So here I'm just using H polish to just get this to look a little bit more polished, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And then here, let's go ahead and choose clip curve, and let's straighten this out this way. Okay. And one of the most important things here is I just want to make sure that I get the intersections of these parts to each other working. This is a tricky one over here. But not impossible. Right. So we're getting pretty close here to having this be in a good state, and the next thing is just to be adding a little bit of alphas to bring out some details. So I'll be doing that probably in the next stream. Is going to be more of the tertiary forms and maybe some colors stuff, because you see like this area here is empty, but like a 2-3 alphas here would fix it. Same thing with this thing, which I need to kind of, nope, not you, this guy. All right, so this right now looks like it's kind of got some subdivisions and it doesn't really need them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete the lower subdivisions, and I'm just going to zero mesh this fresh. Okay, and so that kind of gives me a little bit more playroom. Let's hide this. Right. Yeah, since I've been using this Sense Labs pen display, I've kind of had to make a few adjustments to my workflow, and I mean, it's all good good stuff, but it's definitely, you know, changed the way I work, and I want to say definitely for the better. All right. Okay, so this is kind of one piece of metal, so I'm kind of have to figure out a way to negotiate how this kind of thing is happening. I mean, it's, you know, being hard surface, you kind of always have to think about, okay, this thing's going to get somehow manufactured. A good thing to look at for that type of stuff is surgical equipment, because that's probably the most kind of contorted metal you can think of. Also space stuff, like, you know, look at Tesla engines or whatever, you can kind of see, because those are custom made, custom manufactured. So, and I'm assuming this is kind of what's happening here. All right, you can see kind of the harder edge I got there, and I can just use the pinch brush. So I have it here. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Where are you? Yep. Just kind of go over. This edge right here. There's a little bit of a kind of a Again, you want this to look as manufactured as possible. And so now that I have this, let's take a look at it. The next thing I need to do is to go ahead and put some alphas on it. But again, I don't have to worry about that right now. So I'm using H polish here just to kind of straighten this out. Noticed it was a bit wonky. And then these are kind of the little bit of the hard surface tricks that you need to know. It's just how to make things planar. And I'm going to take a risk here and try and see what this does. This would be a very quick way of solving that problem. Okay, as you can see, most of it was flat, which is good. But there was this part over here that was not. All right, let's hit this one more time. Okay. All right, I think that basically does that. And again, in the worst case scenario, I can always put in a, I can always, you know, recreate this if I need to. You know, just kind of zero mesh it down and then up it back up. And then here, and this is kind of going to, I'm going to mask this top part. And then I'm just going to use mask lasso. Like this. I don't want to touch that anymore since I just spent all this time fixing it. And what I want to do is move this part out. All right, looks good. And now that I've got this, I'll just keep it at the same size, detect edges, and just zero mesh it again. And that'll give me kind of, you know, I didn't see any change in the shape of it, but it did give me a little bit of a evening out of the polygons. And here I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Another way to kind of add and strengthen an edge is just to use Damien standard. Give it a little bit of a lazy step here. That's what I wanted. Easy radius. Actually, here, I'm just going to reset the brush. And then just give it a little bit of lazy radius, and then just there. Okay, so that piece is good. This piece is good. To do a little bit of modifications here, since I made these changes on this guy, just to kind of make it all work together. And I'm just kind of making a kind of a statement that this is actually flowing inside of here somehow, like this. Okay, Damien standard again. This is a bit too harsh of an edge, so I'll just beat it down with there we go. So I would say this is kind of working on secondary forms. The primary forms are done, and so these are secondary forms in action. And then the last but not least would be tertiary forms, which is the alphas. All right, let's see. Anything is the suit. I'm not even gonna pretend to pronounce your name. But anyway, yeah, it is. So it's not nanomesh. It's actually micromesh. So here, let me go to it. So you're talking about this, right? So yeah, this is just, so here's what kind of the model looks like, and I can turn the thing off. Actually, here, bring it up in the menu so you know where to go. So here under geometry, under dynamic subdiv, right? I've turned micropoly on. If I turned off, it's just this. Right, it's just basically a very simple mesh. And this is something that I could also, if I want to, at this point, I mean, it's actually working okay, but, oh, I didn't want to apply that. But yeah, it's just micropoly, and micropoly just basically adds this. And I haven't applied it, it's just on, and it just creates this kind of neat effect. Right? And if I want these to be a little, you can see they're kind of uneven, but I think that actually adds visual interest. But if I did want it to be even, I could fix that too. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this. So here I've got a copy of it, and I'm going to solo that out. So I just have that copy that I just made, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn dynamic off and turn polyframe on. Okay, you can see my model is polyframed, so I can select the different portions. And this is basically the body that I had that I just removed some of the parts and just made into this. So now you can see here that maybe the topology is going to be affecting this micro mesh. So what I can do here is I can go to geometry and zero mesh this, but so I'm going to turn this on just so we can see it, right? And I'm going to turn polyframe off. So here, what I will do is I will go ahead and also open up Zero Mesher, and I'm going to keep my groups. I don't need detect edges on or anything like that, and I don't need to smooth the groups. So I'm going to turn that off all the way down, and I'm going to keep the number of polygons about the same, and then just Zero Mesh it. Okay, so that kind of gives me this pattern, which is a little bit different, but it's more evenly distributed. And if I don't like that, I can just keep retrying until I get some pattern that I like. Right? So so initially I had this on half. I just want to keep the number of polygons the same, not half. All right. So zero mesh once, I get that, which is a lot better. And then I'll just continue to do retry to just see if I have something that works better for me. I can just kind of leave that here. And I'm going to I have occlusion on, so it kind of shows me what it's like, and I just keep retrying. right? Until I get something that kind of is more along the lines of what I like. Right, I think that's pretty good right there. Yeah, so here, so now I've got two different looks for the suit. So I can just go ahead and turn one of them on and the other one off, see which one I like better. So this is one, and I'll turn this one off too. So this is one, and this is two. So at the end I'll decide which one I want, but for now I'll just keep this one, which is what we had before. Hoko, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and Sony, I also appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so let's see here. All right, so this is good. This is good. I kind of want to do a little bit of something with this. It looks a little too kind of thin and not right. Let's see. Okay, so it's got these polygroups and stuff, which I don't really need. So I'm just going to make it all one polygroup, and I'm just going to zero mesh it again. That's too many polygons. Zero mesh this as half. Right, and let's do dynamic subdiv on it with smoothness. And so now I can actually make some adjustments to this. I want this back part to kind of maybe just going to use inflate here and just inflate it out. And then I'll just chop it up to make it right. I can just take this all the way to the back here. Bring this forward. And I'm just going to zero mesh it again. It's the same. I'm just kind of getting, distributed polygons so I can do more work on that. And I think I'm going to have this fill this entire area. Something like that. Here we go. All right, let's let it autosave. How are we doing on time? Okay. Right. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I am on ZBrush version 2024 01. So they did release the first update to it. So if you are somebody who is using ZBrush and you have subscribed, you can just go to the Maxon app and update it. Actually, ZBrush 2024 is only available subscription-wise. So that's, that would be the way to do it, is to just go to the Maxon app and have it update it for you. However, it does say currently is not available as a perpetual license, so who knows, maybe that'll change at some point, but for now it's subscription only. But the weird thing is you can still get ZBrush 2023 as a perpetual, but not 24. Yeah, who knows what'll happen with that. Okay. All right, and then this part right here. It's kind of tucking down into this area, which is fine. And right, let's do some work with this guy. For the most part, what's going on over here I really like, but it's kind of not doing anything for me in the back. So let's fix that. It's pretty amazing. You add these pieces kind of very quickly and then just move off of them, but you know, just to kind of get them to be refined to what you want it to be. For secondary forms, you have to revisit them. And I've had times where I actually have had to completely redo some of these because they don't work in secondary forms. But in this case, it looks like we're safe. Okay, so here's kind of another, I think this is a dynameshed part. And I'll probably zero mesh it here in a minute. So let me see what this looks like. So it kind of has a little bit of a wobble over here that needs to be fixed. So just see how I can find some surfaces here. Let me see something. Again, here I'm just basically making this more into something that's kind of a manufactured piece. I'm going to inflate this back part here because I kind of like it being thick here, but it's kind of getting too thin over here, so I just want to add some bulk in the back. I have room to do that. Okay, and then just get a surface out of this. I'm probably stretching out the polygons a bit, so I'll just go ahead and zero mesh it real quick. It's kind of creating a nice look in the back. Just gonna slam this down like this. And then just zero mesh it again. And find the surfaces. For this part here, I'm just going to turn AccuCurve on just to get a sharper edge. There we go. All right, it's still kind of thin over here, so I'm just going to do a bold kind of pull with the move brush just to get this to work. All right. Control N, Mr. J, Control N. That's how you do it. That's what I teach ZBrush in schools, and I tell my students, unless they have a project that they're working on, you know, they could kind of forget some of the skills. So I always recommend that they have a personal project or something in ZBrush that they spend a few hours a week on, just so they don't forget those skills. But yeah, my students are all over the place. I mean, a lot of them, you know, work on Adobe apps and other types of apps that, you know, unless you're using ZBrush all the time. That's kind of what I've made my kind of work goals, is to always have work that is using ZBrush. Right, so now again, this is kind of ironing this thing out so that it is more of hard surface type of thing. And I think I figured out where the problem is. It's just this gap over here. So again, I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger over here. I think maybe I'm going to do this in a different way. I'm going to choose my masking. Oh, I should mention this. I was having a challenge last time, and I'll let you guys know what the problem was and how to solve it. And I knew how to solve it. I don't know why I just kind of had a brain fart at the time and didn't remember. But I'll show it to you in a minute. So here I'm just masking this, inverting the mask, and that way I have better control. And I'm just going to move this and see kind of how I can better mitigate that kind of weirdness that was happening then here. I want to rotate this part down. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, that looks good. All right, I'm just going to zero mesh this again so I get the geometry. Now, every time I zero mesh, by the way, I'm losing some of the detail. So I'm going to zero mesh this a double so I don't lose some of that detail. All right, so, and then just fix these surfaces again. And by the way, for doing this, sometimes it's better to just go to like a basic material 2 when you're surfacing, because you get that nice specular. Like you can kind of see the wobble here. You might not have caught that if you were just using basic material. So it's always good to go to basic material 2 when you're kind of figuring out surfaces. And if you're doing something even more precise, like an automotive part or something like that, I have some materials that I've made that give me even better surfacing information. But for this guy, I think basic material 2 is good enough. All right, there's that. And then I'm going to do one more other thing here to make this a little bit more interesting. I'm just going to do a little chop over here like that. All right, let's zero mesh this at same. And actually, I'm going to turn detect edges on from this point forward because I am getting some hard surface edges that I've made. All right, let's bring everything back just to make sure I'm working in the area that I need. Okay, this is all good. And then this area right here is going to be an interesting one to figure out, but not too difficult. Yeah, so if you guys look at like dental equipment, you will see that a lot of the parts are super machined out. And it's always interesting to know how those are manufactured. There is a reason why the dental industry has really glommed onto 3D printing. All right, that looks good enough. The only thing I'm not buying is this curve over here, but that's easily fixed. I'm gonna go to move brush, make sure I've got AccuCurve on, and just find a nice little kind of hard surface angle on this. All right, that works. Sort of a little bit more detail. All right. Okay. Now this tube right here is a little bit sus, especially over here. So let's do some fun stuff with it. Let's do an inflate. Inflate this part out. Oops. All right, so these are connected, so I'm just going to separate them out. So a good way to do this is to go to split. I'll just do it here, split, and split to similar parts so that the top parts, did it do it? No, split to similar parts. Oh, that's weird. Okay, let's kind of see what's going on with this. As I move down, it's closing the box. What if this is a bug? That is really strange. All right, well, let's just split it to parts. That's not even working either. That is so strange. I think I have to be really fast here. No, it's not doing it. That is very strange. I don't know if this is a bug or if I'm doing something wrong. All right, well, another way to do this is, I'll do it another way here. Control-Shift-A, Control-A, split, hidden. Again, there's a million ways to do something in ZBrush. Okay, so, oh, I should mention that thing that I was talking about earlier. So the problem I was having is, no, I'll demonstrate it on this back piece right here. So I was masking, and then I was doing a, so Control and Alt to erase the mask. So I was getting this weird effect, and that's if you have gradient on. If you have gradient on, you get this. You're masking, and then when you do this, you get this weird thing that happens, right? And if this is happening to you, the trick is to turn gradient off, and that fixes it, right? So now I can just kind of erase the mask or erase parts of the mask. So this gradient is the culprit, and if you don't have it on your UI like I do here, it's under color and gradient right here. So under the color menu and gradient right here to fix that problem. Okay. It's a bit of a PSA right there. Oh, so I have those two tubes. One of them got hidden. Right, let's bring that one back. Right, so let's pick this one. All right, and let's figure out that it's going to attach here somehow. Let's pick this one. Let me solo this thing out. I don't know if I like this, the way it's kind of all got warbled up, but let me just zero mesh it once with half. Let's see what I get. One more time. Thing with tubes is, you know, you mess around with them too much and then they kind of don't look like tubes. But I think this will work. And what I might need to do is just put some fixture over here. So I'm just going to duplicate this guy. take one of the duplicates here and do an expand on it. So here I'm just going to go ahead and give it an inflate. Just a little bit, maybe something like that. And solo that out. And what I want to do here is turn dynamic off on it. And I'm going to delete these, delete polyloop. And I'm going to delete this part as well. Delete island, that's gone. And then I'm just going to go in here and extrude, edge loop, and extrude these. And I'm just going to crease this edge, crease. Edge loop complete. Just crease this edge loop, and then dynamic subdiv. Oops. All right, that's what I wanted. And the tube plugs into that, so that makes it a little bit more believable. And as much as this is kind of not a non-organic piece, I'm going to make it look as hard surface as possible just by wonder if this would look better. I think that looks okay. Maybe it's just like a border piece like that. That plugs into here. All right, hide the polyframes. That works. I'm just lifting this up. There. All right, so that tube works, and then let's figure out what to do with this one. I kind of like the way this top part is going, so I'm going to see if I can tuck this other tube down here somewhere. Let's see what would be a good way to do it. Let's do that with it. And yeah, I'll just so it is there, but it's just in the back somehow. All right. All right. Kind of missing the colors, so let's bring the colors back. All right, and I want to look at this over here. Not good. There we go. And I'm going to color these tubes these colors. So fill object, and this guy too. Okay, and then this one. For now, I'm just gonna color it black. All right, so we're getting there slowly but surely, and we're doing okay on time. Let's go back to gray here. All right, so I think this is all good. Now I wanted to give some interest to these pieces right here. Not those ones. These guys right here. Oh, there's these other ones. They're on the inside. Are they even seen? Nope. So they could go away. So these guys, I don't need them anymore. Let's go to select lasso and just select these guys, which I'm going to keep, and then I'm going to delete the hidden ones. And let's look at these guys. All right, so they're somewhat good geometry. Yeah, they're great geometry. I think I use these from, I don't know where I got these from. I can't remember now, but they will do the thing I need them to do, which is give me some visual interest. So I'm just going to solo these out. And what I'm going to do here is just do a couple of things. So like it seems like just these two are visible. So all these top parts or whatever I'm not seeing, which is kind of sad because they're kind of interesting. So, all right, so my gizmo is not where I need it to be. So if I hit this, does it put it where I need it to be? Kind of does, kind of doesn't. So I just need to get this to be centered over here. So I'm just going to, oops. If I just control and click here, that should put it in the right orientation in the Z direction, but not the X. So I'm going to click on the X and Z, and now it's perfect. All right, and now I'm just going to move this down here, mask these guys, and move these down. Let's see if I can make them visible, so they'll be interesting. I just noticed something, but I don't think it's going to matter. I just noticed that these things that I put in here, they kind of are hollow, but I wonder if okay, so this is kind of what I'm trying to do here, is I'm trying to get these kind of interesting top parts to show a little bit at least. How about that? Nope. Well, what if I bring this down to here like that? And then I'll select. So I need to go back to mask lasso here. Actually, no, I don't. There's a new capability in ZBrush which allows me to grow the mask out. And this is they just introduced this, and it's pretty neat. So if I go to masking here, I can just go ahead and say grow mask, and that grows it out, grows it out, grows it out to there. All right, and then let's see what this is going to be. Nope. Well, actually, they didn't add the grow mask. That was there before, but they added the, mask all, or the, where is it? Yeah, mask all. They added that. But just keep growing this mask. I guess what I'm trying to do is just, I can do it with the lasso. Just trying to figure that out. Okay, this is what I'm trying to do. All right, let's look at it from the side again. All right, I'm going to invert that mask, and I want to make, oops, and I want to make this part a little bit thinner. Okay, so it's not doing it right. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make this thinner, but look at what's happening, and that's because I need local symmetry on. Let's see if that does it. I might need dynamic on as well, and also not have dynamic on maybe. Yep, this is what I want. So I want to make this thinner. But what's happening is that it's making this kind of shrink down, which is not what I want. So I will have to mask all the way down to here. So, and now this should do it. Yep. So I did a trick here, which is basically polygroup this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go to polygroup, single poly. It should be on polygon. Polygroup, polyloop. Let's absorb. Nope. And what I want to do is I want to absorb the color of this polygroup, and then I just want to do polygroup, polyloop this guy like that. And get this one here too. It's going to be touchy, but not impossible. If I do this, it'll be easier. And I don't want this one. Island. Okay, so now I just have two polygroups, and the reason why I did this is because now what I can do is I can just say I want to select this polygroup and this one, right, and mask this. That mask. I mean, I don't, I could have done this probably with less steps. All right, no, actually I had the right masking that time, and then just shrink the size of this down to maybe about there. All right, and then I need to do one other thing here is just bring this bottom part up. So now I'm just going to mask all this. And move this up. Right, what that's doing though is it's kind of creating this area here that I need to add something to, which is easy enough. So I'm just going to duplicate this part. Duplicate, then solo it out. And I think this is composed of multiple parts. Let's see here. Yeah, so I don't, I can just, what would be a good thing to add down here? I think delete hidden. And I'm just going to move this guy down. To here. And that takes care of that kind of little bit of transition over there. Being a little bit loose with this, but that's fine. All right, so let's add dynamic to that, and let's add dynamic to this. All right, so this is kind of looking a little bit more interesting than what we had before. However, this part here is doing a weird intersection, so easily fixed. Let's just push it in and out of the way. All right. Now I really like this piece over here, but I kind of want another one. And I'm going to see if I can get away with it. So I'm just going to use Control and do one of these guys and lift it up. I don't know where it's going to insert into, but we'll figure it out. Let's see if I have another one this way. And again, this is just an experiment. I can nix it if I don't think it's going to work. Oh, I'm really, what the hell's going on in there? Look at this. Okay, I think when I went up, it kind of intersected itself. So just not have it do that. And sometimes it's good to turn things all the way upside down. Let's see if this works any better. All right, so that works, I think, shape-wise, but I need to figure out where it's inserting and where it kind of is going up. All right, solo that. And I'm going to split the mask points here. That mask didn't go right. Let's do it one more time. All right, that's good. Now, one other thing that will make these stand out more is if I add some edge loops. So here I'm just going to go to insert, multiple loops. Let's go to 10. Let's go to 6 first, and then I don't want interactive elevation. Right, so I'm just going to do this. And then I'm just going to insert a single edge loop here, there, like that, and Q mesh these in. See, is there an option in QMesh to crease? QMesh, crease, 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 no crease. It'd be nice if there was an option to crease these, but I can always crease them. So crease, edge loop, complete, 1, 2, and then this will do it. Yeah, there we go. Right, and these kinds of things definitely add some interest. And then I'll do another kind of one of these things where I'm just gonna delete this edge loop, and then I'm going to QMesh this out. Let's do the creasing again. Crease, crease, QMesh. This way, and then crease and crease. Right, so now I've taken that kind of really boring looking thing and created something a little bit more interesting looking. And let's move off of solo here. Right, so that's kind of more interesting looking, and I'm going to do the same exact thing to this guy right here. Solo it out. For this one, I don't really need to do too much. Maybe add an edge loop there, add an edge loop there, crease these edge loops, and QMesh this guy out this way. So automatically that's a little bit more interesting. And then insert one here and another one here. Crease, crease, oops, and QMesh poly loop, and oops, right, so I don't really like where this is kind of falling, so I'm just going to move it. And to do that, the best way to do it is just to mask. Actually, easier way to do it is just to do this. Like that, invert the mask, and then okay, so you see the gizmo kind of got messed up, so I need to put it back where it was. Which again, control click here, move it out of the way, and then control and click until it snaps to there. Okay, then that's basically aligned. Oops. There we go. And then I can just, oh, did that get unmasked? It did. No worries. Easy enough to remask it. Like that. I think I masked more than I wanted to. I did. All right. Gotta be pretty precise with this. So start here, go out, come back in, move this up. Let go. I hope I got it this time. Let's make sure. Yeah. So I want to do the exact opposite of that, which is just move this up. Maybe to there. That looks better. See? I didn't mask the back part, but this kind of is interesting. What does it look like? Do I even see that part? Let's see. I do see it and I don't like it. All right, so no worries, easily fixed. So what I need to do is when I'm doing the masking is make sure I have it at a right angle. So let's see if this did it. Okay, lift this up, go all the way around. Yep, that's good. Third time is the charm. All right, there's that. And then I need to put a few of those over here too. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert some edge loops. Insert this way, one here, and then I'm going to put one here and one here. And let's do some creasing. Oops. And I'm going to go back to basic material. Actually, better one for doing this kind of work is Skin Shade 4. So you kind of can see these better. And then Q-Mesh Poly Loop. This one I want to push in. And this one I want it to push out. Like that. Right, so that just basically adds a little bit more visual interest to those parts. Right? So they look official. And yeah, so it's kind of getting there. And I think this is kind of looking interesting with Skin Shade 4 as well. It's kind of bringing out some of the shapes. And all right, so that's all good. I'm going to take a look at my reference here just to see if there's anything else I can add that would be interesting. So one of the things in here that kind of they've done is this piece right here that I have is not straight. So let me see if I can do some things to it to make it be more like that. Let me solo it out. Okay, so it is closed. Let me just zero mesh it about the same size. And let me see what happens if I do a if I add a pattern to this. But let me make sure that the shape is kind of ironed out first. So this is going to be kind of a socket thing that this is fitting into. And it's going underneath this, but coming out this way. So let me just indicate that. This is where the transition is. All right, so let's go ahead and add a micro mesh to this. Let's see if that works at all. So micro poly, or not micro mesh, micro poly, and let's try some different micro polys. So let's turn it on, and let's start with this guy right here. No. How about this one? So that is making it look more like cloth, so that's not going to do it. I'm going to see if there's some mechanical one that might be interesting. Maybe this one. No, that's not mechanical looking. How about this one? Nope. All right, I got one more try in me, and then I'm going to do something else. Grid. No. Okay, so this is not how I want to do it. So micropoly is not going to do what I want it to do. However, I might go to ZModeler, and let's do a QMesh poly loop. And let's start pulling some of these out. That's kind of interesting. I think that kind of helps. Maybe this too. There we go. Oh, happy accident city today. And if I dynamically subdivide these, it looks really cool. And then let's see if I can do a border on this. Well, actually, a border on this might make more sense. All right, let me split to that piece. I'm going to need an edge loop. Turning this on would help. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of good. And then how do I, let's see what happens. Let me add one more. And then slide this one down. And QMesh this. So somehow it works out like that. Wow, that really kind of added a really nice piece of interest right there, just by using the topology. And I could probably do some, not with you, but this guy, do some. Oh, let's let it autosave. All right, I've got somebody from Vietnam. Good morning, Vietnam. I guess I don't know, is it morning there? Can I show me how to clean up mesh? So can you let me know what you mean by clean up mesh? That could have a bunch of different meanings. So yeah, if you can let me know what you mean by clean up mesh, I'll see if it kind of works with what we're doing, and if so, I'll be more than happy to show you, answer any questions. Yeah. Whoa. Hello. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting how that little bit of detail just kind of make this whole area work so much better. So yeah, we started with a Boolean with this thing, and then now it's just become this kind of really cool little piece. Okay. So I'm just going to try something here with this piece. No, not you, but you. Not you too. Jeez. This one. Okay. All right, so the problem with this one is that it's got these holes over here that's not working for me. And I'm going to try something really crazy, and I'm glad it autosaved because this could really kind of go nuts. But I'm going to see what happens if I, first of all, apply this. So it becomes a mesh, right? So right now this is just micro mesh, but in order for it to actually work, I need to apply the dynamic subdivision. So now that it applied it, I'm going to go ahead and let's see what kind of craziness this produces. Dynamesh this. Oh, that didn't work. Let's go ahead and pick a resolution that's higher. I'm going to max it out and Dynamesh. And that's going to create this, which actually is not bad. Yeah, that works. And then what if I do a polish on this? So let's say polish. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that works. That works even better. So now I don't have those weird kind of open gaps. I've got this really kind of cool kind of pattern thing happening there. All right, I think we're getting pretty close to having all the things done in here. I just want to put a few more kind of thinner wires in this area. So I'm going to solo this out, and I'm going to go to the tube brush, B, insert, oh, no, skip, B, insert, no, that's not it, B, and what is, I think I have it in my brushes, but just for you folks, I just want to make sure I have the thing I'm looking for, which is a curve. Yeah, it's the curve. B, C, curve. Nope, it's not curves. Is it insert? No. That's why I like having my own menus, because curve tube. That's what it is. I wonder why it didn't come up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I have it now. So I'm going to unsolo this, and I'm just going to do some extra wires, maybe not that thick. Maybe not there. Okay, so I've got the size right. I just need to fit it in. Okay. And I'm going to transparent and ghost here because I want to do this kind of coming in from the inside and going on to here. And I'm just going to add some like random tubes in here just to kind of move them around. There's more stuff happening in here. Just kind of, okay, so let's solo these out. Now the problem is I need to separate these out from what's underneath, which is easy enough to do. So I'm just going to do this. And oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I don't know when slice got turned on, but no worries. I'm going to go back to select these guys, Control Shift A. It's going to be tricky. Whoa, don't want to do that either. All right, so I got all these guys, and then what I'm going to do here is just split the hidden parts, and I should just have the wires. I don't need this curve here, so I'm just going to get rid of it, and that's under stroke, curve, not that one, curve functions, and delete. All right, and then let's just go back to tool and pick these wires. Oh man. I have this back part here that got separated out. Not a problem. We can add it back in. So select these guys, split hidden, and then just merge this down. I don't know if there's any reason for me to have this be separate from these guys. So there, merge down. Okay, all right, so now that's back to the way it was. Not that it matters. I don't know if any of this is going to show in the back. It's not. I completely deleted those parts and it wouldn't have made a difference. But, you know, let's just keep them there for now. And then let's figure out what to do with these wires. So to move these wires, I'm going to turn on topological. So that means I'm just moving one wire at a time. transparency off for that. So just a wire here and there, and just these are just going to be like wires hanging out. Then let's go to another one. Turn transparency on for a second, and let's bring this guy out. I could probably turn on move elastic, which would be better for this kind of move of this guy. So I'm going to just go to that brush. I think it's, do I have it? Move elastic? I do. And I'm going to also have it be elastic and topological. And that kind of creates more of kind of a wiry move for wires. And it's kind of a fine dance between having something be... There's this one. And again, these are just going to be like little things that maybe have a little bit of a glint to them or something that makes it visually more interesting. Yeah, Move Elastic works really good with wires and things like that. So this is just kind of going to be, oh, that's a little bit too much of a move. Let's see. And these will be kind of in the, you know, they'll barely show. Yeah, it's just gonna. And I could probably peel off curves from this if I want to actually have the curves be better. I can peel off curves and just have things rotate around them. Be nice to have something over here. This is the cable I'm looking for. Let's kind of get rid of this tangent. There we go. All right, so these are just kind of wires that are going to show like that. All right, we're getting close to time here. I got about 20 minutes left, or yeah, 10 more minutes left. What am I thinking? And yeah, there it is. So we did a lot of really cool stuff today. Hopefully you guys got a good understanding. And the person from Vietnam, you didn't really let me know what you mean by clean up mesh. So I'm just going to wait for you to do that. And if you don't get a chance to do it, you can always get a hold of me, and I should do that kind of last minute thing where I talk about all of my socials and all that good stuff. Oops, sorry about that. Just have to find the web page that has it all, and here it is. Okay, so the best way to get a hold of me, best thing to do is follow my Instagram. So if you go to my Instagram right here, I have a lot of stuff. This was done in ZBrush. Just kind of I was just playing around and did the sketch and created this really cool skeleton idea. And I'll probably be pursuing this. This is just kind of a quick render. I did in Redshift, and then this image here is actually part of the ZBrush installation process. So when you're installing ZBrush, this comes up kind of like this. So it's just kind of the install screen. And I made these background and foreground things with the new Max on Noise stuff that they added in ZBrush 2024. So yeah, if you go to my Instagram, that's how you can get a hold of me. And then there's my link tree. And this kind of gives you all of the different places of mine that you can go to. So if you folks didn't know, I have a Gumroad. Oh, no, this is not it. Where is my Gumroad? This is my Gumroad. So in my Gumroad, you can get my primitive brushes. There's a free version, and then there's also I'm sorry, there's a free version right here in which you get 17 core primitives in a insert multi-mesh brush, or you can get the one here that has 36 different pieces, which has a whole bunch of other very useful little primitives that you can use. This one I charge for, and then you can also get my UI colors. I know a lot of people have asked about that. But yeah, if you want to ask me questions, you can always reach me through my, this is my portfolio page. Some of the work that I've done, you can reach me through here, or you can reach me through Instagram. But yeah, there's different ways of getting back to me. So if you want to find out more about like what cleaning up a mesh is or whatever, you can always contact me, and I'll see if I can answer your question on my next stream or some other way. All right. I think this is kind of getting to a point where I like it. And let's go ahead and bring some of the colors back. It's going to look really dark. And let's go ahead and go back to basic material here. Yeah, let's choose a darker color. Some of these pieces lost their colors since I did some work on them, but that's fine. So let's pick this one. And I think this piece right here, I'm going to make the lighter gray. So let's pick that gray and fill the object with it. And then this piece right here, same thing. And this piece, same thing. And this piece right here, I'm just going to make black for now. And this little piece right here, I'm going to also make black. And I just figured out how I turned gradient on. So instead of clicking switch object, I probably clicked on gradient here accidentally. This bottom part here, I'm going to make that black as well. All right, so it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. And then this part right here is going to be gray, and then these cables are going to be black. All right. Okay, so at this point, what I want to do is just do a quick render of this, but not render it. Like if I just do a BPR, I'm going to get something very similar to what I have with some shadows, something like that, which kind of looks cool. But I want to do some, I'm just going to go ahead and do some non-photorealistic or NPR renders with it as well. So here I'm just going to go to my NPR menus. Where are you? Non-photorealistic render, BPR shadow. Where are you? Why am I not seeing this? BPR render pass. No, render properties. No, where is it? Yeah, I don't know why I'm kind of drawing a blank on this right now, but BPR filters, that's what I want. Okay. All right. I guess I'm kind of at the end of my day, so. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and go to Lightbox here and choose something from Lightbox. And I need Lightbox to be 3 lines. And I'm just going to let this do its thing. It's probably waking up a hard drive or something like that. All right, let's go back down to 2 lines here, maybe even 1 line. And I'm just going to go ahead and move this up to here, do a BPR render, and I'm just looking for contrast here or just some kind of ideas of what the different things are going to be. So I'm just kind of doing some black and white kind of renders just to kind of get an idea. Nothing here is going to be a finished piece. It's just, here we go. It's kind of what I'm looking for. And then Just get some outlines of what this is going to look like. And you know, when I do my regular render, some of the stuff will come out. That's kind of cool. I'm just kind of going through some of these, getting some really nifty effects here. That kind of is going to give me pretty much some of the what I'm looking for here. So I'm just going to do another render with that pass. Okay, so that's kind of giving me the idea of what the frontal view is going to look like, and just kind of a little bit of a 3/4. Let's see what that gives me as well. Okay, that's good. Now let's just go to some other ones. Here's a nice toon one. This is one I would really like. Creates a really interesting pattern. And what I do with this one is I just add one more filter, which is an outline. Where are you? Outline, edge, and pump that up. And that gives me a nice cartoony type of render. Let's do it this way. Let's do BPR render. All right. Oh, okay. Well, good. On, I guess, or on buoy. You figured it out. Good. Okay, and then do this one. BPR. Whoa. What the hell? Didn't want that. Nice thing is you don't have to do BPR every time. Okay, this is kind of along the lines of what I'm looking for here too, just to kind of get a little bit of the outlines and what I'm seeing. I'm going to do another one of these. And I'm going to turn occlusion off in a minute and do a render that way without occlusion, because that kind of will show me some stuff. Okay, so all this looks good over here. I'm getting a lot of interest in the face, which is good. All right, let's do a few more filters and then we'll call it a night. Let's do this one. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, just like an image. Oil paint one. Yeah, there you go. This one, this one. This is kind of cool. Just like as a picture, it generates a neat image. I'm actually going to export this out. Oh, maybe later. Ah, pixelated. There we go. That's another cool one. All right, we'll do a few more here. This pixelated one's kind of neat. Reminds me of my Commodore 64. Right, there we go. Last but not least, this one, just kind of interesting hatch marks and whatnot. All right, so I think we're good for the most part. So the medium forms are pretty much, I think, done. I'm trying to get back to the one I really liked, which I think was this one. No, it was this one. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. Let's hide this. So I'm kind of getting, you know, the medium or the secondary shapes of the head are done. I think the secondary shapes of most of this harness is done as well. I might need to do some secondary shapes on this kind of thing on his shoulder. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I also created these kind of things here for his arm. And I don't know if I'm going to have pieces that extend out this way. I probably am. I don't think I'm going to do anything with the pants and the legs. I think this is all good. So yeah, we're getting pretty close to being done with the modeling. I think maybe another 2 sessions. So we'll get to probably episode 10 when the modeling is done, and then after that it's just posing and some of the other stuff. Okay, so I guess that's the end of our stream, and that's the last stream of 2023. So I want to wish you all happy holidays, happy New Year coming up here, and my next stream I think will be in January, and I believe it's going to be January 5th. So I will see you all on January 25th, New Year 2024, and we can hopefully have a great year that year. Okay, thanks for watching, and happy ZBrushing, happy holidays.